Hi viewers, welcome back to my channel. So I hope everyone is doing good. So today's video is going to be from a different series, and that's Wipro's NLTH National Level Talent Hunt 2021. So here I'll be concentrating on more on coding questions like how we concentrated for the Amcat automata. So let's get started. So before getting started, if you think my work is good, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. So I've already made different series like AMCAT automata questions and few C programming tutorials. So in case if you forget, please do check it in that I button. So now let's move on with the question. So today's question is going to be one of the repetitive questions in NLTH, and that's going to be to find all the distinct elements in the given array. The main distinct is going to tell us we have to just print the unique elements of the array. So if you see the input, it is 12, 10, 9, 45, 2, 10, 10 again 45. But if you see the output, we have printed only 12 and 10, 9, 45 and 2. Means I haven't printed the 10 three times as it was in the input, nor the 45 two times as it was in the input. Now let's look the various test cases, that is the outputs for this question. So if you see here, first test case is we have given the input as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and each of the element is an unique element for that array, and so all the elements that was in the input is printed because none of the elements in the arrays are repeated. But if you see in the second test case, 1 is printed 5 times and the unique value that is actually present in that element is just 1, and so we have printed the 1. So if you see here, the first test case and second test case, the scenarios are different. So we have to compare all the scenarios and we have to write the logic for this. If you see the third test case, 1, 5, 7, 12, 1, 6, 10, 7 and 5. If you see here, 5 is printed 2 times and 7 is printed 2 times. So we will remove the repetitive elements and we'll print only the unique elements. So our output should be 1, 5, 7, 12, and 1 is also printed 2 times, so we omitted that. So after that 6 is a unique element, and then 10, and we didn't print 7 and 5 because it is repetitive. And if you see the last test case, 1, 3, 5, 4, 8, 5. If you see here, the 5 is only printed twice, so I've just printed the 1, 3, 5, 4 and 8 and not the last element that is repeated. So from this we can find that we have to print only the unique elements and not the repetitive elements. So just pause the video once and try to write the logic, and after that we will just discuss the logic. I hope everyone tried the logic. Now let's discuss the logic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a test case. So we'll take the first test case that we saw along with the question. So it's 1, 3, 5, 4, 8 and 5. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm marking the index of those elements in the array. So I've marked 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are the index of the arrays. I've just marked each element's index. So if you see here in the 0th position we have 1, in the first position of the array we have 3, likewise in second 5, third 4, and in fourth position we have 8, and in the fifth position we have 5. So what we should do is first we have to take a number, we have to take a value and we have to check it against the other values of the elements. Then only we know whether that value is repetitive or not. So what I mean is, if you wanted to check something, we should have two values to be checked, right? So one should be the value to be compared and one should be the value to which it to be compared. So if I'm going to take an element, maybe let us take the value of 1 itself, that is a 0th element. I have to check it with the 3, 5, 4, 8 and 5 to check whether it has any other repetitive values, that whether the value 1 is present in any other places. So first what I will do is I will take this 1 and I'll check it against 3 and then against 5, then against 4, 8 and 5. So in this case I didn't get any of the repetitive values. So what it will become as, it will become a unique element and that element will get printed. Now after this what I will do is I'll push this, now I'll start checking with the next element. The next element is 3. Now with this 3 again I will check it with 5 and 4 and 8 and 5. So you might ask me like why we should not check with 1, because we already checked when we had the condition value as 1 itself, like while we are checking with 1 itself we checked that 1 and 3 were not equal, right? So if it were equal, we would have found a repetitive value. So we don't need to check it with 1 again. So if you're going with the forward, moving towards the forward itself is fine. So our logic can be consolidated something like this. So first you're checking for the 0th index value, that whether it is equal to the first, second, third, fourth or fifth indices values. And if the same value is not present, we are going to print the value. And similarly, we are going to repeat this for the other elements in the array. That is for the first, second, third, fourth index values in the array, but not for the last element, because after last element you are not going to have any further elements to be checked. So for moving between the 0, first, second, third and fifth, we are going to use one loop. Like just imagine you're going to check, right? You're going to have a left hand side value and right hand side value. So for moving between the left hand side values you need a loop, and for moving between the right hand side values you need a loop, and that's why I'm using two loops here. So the first loop will be for moving with the left hand side, that is for the check for 0th, check for first, check for second, third, fourth. And the other loop will be used for checking against the other elements in the array whether I have the repeated element in the array or not. So I have implemented the code here. So if you see here, initially I'm getting three variables. One is I, j and size. I and j is basically the looping variables that you are using for the loops, and size is going to store the value of the number of elements in the array. So first I'm getting the size of the array and I'm storing it in size, and then I am declaring an integer array of size equal to the value stored in the size variable. So if I'm getting 10 here, then I'm going to create a of 10 with 10 elements, and then I'm getting the elements of the array using the for loop. So after that I've implemented the logic. So in the outer loop I'm using I as the looping variable, and in inner loop I'm using j. So for I is equal to 0, I less than size, I plus plus, and now inside that I'm using the inner loop. So where j is going to be I plus 1 and j is less than size, I'm checking whether the next element, like the next elements of that checking element is equal to the same element. If that is the case, I'm breaking the loop so that no further checking happens, because we found that we have a duplicate element. And if it is not happening, then I'm checking whether j is equal to size, like whether I have traversed the entire array and still I didn't find any duplicate array, then I am printing that array. Okay, so now let's run this. So it's asking the size of the array. Let me give it as 5. So elements, so I'll give it as 1, 2, 6, 7 and 6. Okay, so output is 1, 2, 8 and 6 is because I have given 6 twice. Okay, so but that is not printed again. So now let's check it with a different example. Enter the size of the array. Let me give it as 6. 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2. So if I'm giving enter, see only 1 and 2 is printed. So we got the output of this program. So if you think my work is good, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Keep supporting.